Warning, the subject of this video is acquired through in-game gambling mechanics, and there is no 100% certainty that you will acquire this ship should you partake in said gambling. It is a very expensive ship to acquire, and a high risk involved. If you do feel that you have problems with gambling, then I recommend stopping this video and seeking assistance first. Now, let's begin. Greetings, Jalantru. Welcome aboard my starship. Welcome to Shadowstar, members of the Federation, the Co-Federation, the Klingon Defense Force, the Romulan Republic, and of course, esteemed guests from the Dominion. Allow me to introduce you to a saucer. Yes, this has been saucer separated. Are you ready for this? With that, let's get started. And of course, these are her stats. Allow me to introduce you to the World Razer Temporal Ops Juggernaut. Now, before we go any further, I do want to address a couple of things. First of all, though this ship has some very powerful aspects to her, making her a strong DPS vessel, she also has some negatives. For example, I can't honestly say she is better or worse than the Vaadwaur Miracle Worker Juggernaut, though that is a promo ship and therefore could be considered more expensive to acquire. I could then also address the fact that a certain legendary dreadnought of a similar caliber is equal to, maybe a little bit weaker, but that's an account-wide unlock. Funny, so can the Vaadwaur one be now. Gets worse, the Lexington is a good match against this ship. Hell, the Cygnus gives this ship a run for its money. But at least in testing, this ship does seem to be the better DPS vessel versus all of them. Seems. I will note that I have not fully tested this ship to its maximum performance, as far as what I can from a support DPS vessel, nor have I been able to see what a DPSer can get out of this. Unfortunately, I don't have Oggy for that extra information anymore. It's a shame and a disappointment, because I know he would have shown us the power of this ship. Just looking at the stats alone, you should be able to tell what this ship is great at, but I'm going to be blunt right now, before we even discuss those stats. This ship is a beam overload monster, just like the Vaadwaur. This ship is a cannon scatter volley beast, and this ship is a very, very dangerous kinetic build, if you know what you're doing. So, with that, let's be blunt. We have a tier 6 Juggernaut. At level 65, her hull is 65,250. Her shield modifier is 1.45 with her hull modifier, correction. Her hull modifier is 1.45 with a shield modifier of 1.15. Excuse me for getting flipped around there. Her turn rate is 7. Her impulse modifier is 0.16 with an inertia rating of 35. She has a impressive bonus power to weapons, shields and engines, plus 10 to weapons with plus 5 to both shields and engines. With 5 forward and 3 aft weapons, it's the atypical Juggernaut loadout. Was we expecting anything else? She can equip dual cannons, she has 3 device slots, and then to bring the power home, and I really do want to emphasize that, bring this power home. She has 5 tactical consoles, 3 engineering, 3 science. Upgrade that for the extra universal console slot, and you have some excessive, I really do mean excessive power when it comes to DPS. However, this ship is correctly built and augmented so that it can actually be a DPS hybrid, utilizing both quite effectively tactical and side DPS simultaneously. Please keep that in mind, because that is one of the things that really does do this ship well. I'll acknowledge that because I'm digging for positives as well. Well, I named the ship the CSS in the end, because I'm not really sure where I stand with it. I'm on a test server with it right now. Take that as you will. Her bridge officers are probably the final great positive to this ship. Please listen to all I said there. The final great positive to this ship, the bridge officers, is that she has, although an ensign science, she has a lieutenant universal, 2 lieutenant commander seats, 1 universal, 1 engineering command specialization, and 1 commander tactical with temporal specialization. I'm gonna be straight with you guys. Not a fan of temporal. I am not a fan of temporal ships in general. I do like how they can be used, but I personally am better with intel, command, or miracle worker before I am good with a temporal ship, and that is just that's a me problem. That is nothing against this ship. That's a me problem. So yes, I am not getting the best out of this ship because I'm stupid. But I'm just have to focus on the fact that once we take away from these stats, once we walk away from these, things start to get negative. Happily, customization is a little bit of a savior, and I'm going to look a little bit longer at customization here, even before visual reviewing it, purely because it is a saving grace for me. It's a space Barbie grace, and that is something I want to address. Final important things to remember from this ship is it has, of course, molecular reconstruction, being a temporal ship, and it has the World Razer Juggernaut array. This is a very powerful phaser blast. I will go into its specifications in a bit. I will note right now that changing your modes just seem to boost it, so it is something that can be augmented. Among other built-in powerful weapons, it is stronger than typical phaser lances and similar. I hesitate to say though that as much as it looks like it can hit multiple, I've never really spotted it deal multiple ship damage. And maybe I didn't test it in the right way, so I will try to check for this later. Maybe it will become another positive I can talk about later. Overall, I've got to be blunt with you guys. This ship is a relatively okay support ship, even though support does technically need a little bit more pro in the science side of things. But it's a relatively okay support ship. It's a bleedingly good tank. It is a very good tank. And it is very powerful as a DPS vessel. It's just very expensive to acquire it, and there are too many ships that are easy to acquire on an account unlock that come close to it in power, and that's the bit that's creating a hesitation for me. making me hesitate from scoring it highly. It's that whole... Although this is the most powerful option of the ones I directly looked at, for DPSs at least, it's not for any of the other categories. All of them actually do support and tanking better. This ship does the DPS better. I just can't justify its price to get a hold of it. If it was account-wide unlock, I could. But even then, the Votor Miracle Worker is kind of... Yeah, let's just not go into that. So, let's try now... Oh, I was about to say, look at something else, but I'm warning you right now, I'm about to get negative. I can't help it. It's the problem with this ship. But, let's go have a look. Okay, I've got to give it to this ship. This ship has a good behind, and I like a ship with a good behind. Yeah, I found the positive. Now, there's a lot to look at here, so excuse me as I get a little bit focused, and also excuse my horrible build. Hello, stupidity down here, for fun of it. Right. We'll start with a trait. Cultural Conquest. Weapon firing modes improve damage and remove hostile effects. Activating a weapon firing mode will apply a 25% increased damage for 15 seconds. Dealing weapon damage to a foe that has debuffed, dotted or controlled you will actually improve that damage up to 50% rather than 25% and remove one such negative effect from you. Note the fact that I changed the way that's phrased. A cryptic, when you have a phrasing scheme, stick to it. Thank you, MC Stu. I'm saying this right now, if you guys do not follow MC Stu, who is a brilliant STO content creator, then I strongly recommend you look up that name and you go and give him a follow. Thanks to him, I know one very distinct thing. Despite that phrasing of bonus, this is a Cat 1 trait, not a Cat 2. What I mean by that is you're getting a Cat 1 damage increase rather than a Cat 2, and it's Cat 2 that you really want. Cat 2 would make this a really great trait. Cat 1 and you are looking at mediocre. You see that 25 does not become 75, that is not a plus 50% on top of your plus 25%, that is 25 improves to 50. End of. The fact it only removes one such negative effect on you as well, considering how many you could end up with stacked on you, is also a problem. Here's the thing. This trait could have been so much better if they just made it a Cat 2 applies at 25% bonus damage for 15 seconds. That would have been lovely. Yes, it would have been pretty powerful, especially if they give you that 50%. But that's when activating firing modes. And you could just say it doesn't stack. So even though you've activated multiple firing modes, you're still only getting the limited. Now, yes, I forgot to do this when I was streaming and I had to take a second to go test the trait. There's a reason I'm not still using the trait. Yes, it seems like it stacks. So if you trigger only one firing mode, you get this once. If you trigger 2 firing modes, you get this doubled. But also not. How to explain it? This is difficult to explain. If I was watching my damage output, I even had to run a pass to double check this. Well, what I can do off one at least. Thank you, Nightfall. Although it looks like it triggers twice, you don't get a double effect. Nor does it seem like they last 15 seconds each. It's like, although you've triggered it and then I did wait to time this to so you can get where I'm getting this from. Even if you say trigger it once, then 10 seconds later you trigger another firing mode, the benefit you get from triggering that second firing mode ends after 5 seconds because you've already had 10 seconds. Plus, you won't end up with 50% increased damage, which if it was stacking and it was doing it, say, well, you can see how many firing modes I've got there right now. All firing modes being triggered stacks it up to that level. It could actually be a very good Cat 1 boost, but it's still, well, it doesn't do that. And as a result, I'm sorry, out of 5, this trait is getting a 2. It's a good trait, but not for a ship this expensive. It's not. It's simple end of story. It's not good enough for a ship this expensive. That's what's it's basically it's giving it demerit. If it was on a Zen Store ship, I'd given it a 3 out of 5. No, it's doesn't get that benefit. So let's talk about the console, Universal Console, Light of Civilization. So, while I was hoping about this console, is true, it does happen, it's good. I'm glad it does because it gives you more reason to want to group up enemies and try and blow all enemies up together, because blowing up one enemy does damage to the enemy next to it. Like it does damage to you if you're too close. Yes, it only affects the enemies. What am I talking about? Light of Civilization core breach. So we're going to discuss that first. When you use this console on an enemy, if that enemy is destroyed, you will immediately apply the Light of Civilization core breach, which is an immediate additional explosion, and it is an addition. So you get the initial explosion that you have from the enemy ship that will deal with its damage. Simultaneously, you also have this explosion on top of it, which has its own lovely little effect and shockwave, has the same range of effect, and will deal a level of kinetic damage. In the case for me, it's 18,620 kinetic damage with a 3.8 repel. Okay, so you can really boost up the level of damage dealt from blowing up one enemy next to another. That's great. I like that about this trait. I don't like that repel. That repel is freaking annoying. I had enemies flying behind me that I needed to stay in front of me. This ship does not have sufficient room to improve its control unless you're using a console to give you that control. And I'm sorry, a ship like this, you're not going to be wanting to waste a console slot like I am for the source of separation just to have a very powerful control console, which means you need your ally with you that is a support control type. And then you need to pray that this doesn't overpower it somehow. I really hope it doesn't. I didn't get to test that. Either way though, the rest of this console can be considered somewhat positive. The passive effects is a +5 to current weapon subsystem power. That's nice. Any boost to weapon system power is always a pleasure. Whether it's possible to get it easier or better somewhere else, that's null and void at this point for me. I'm happy to see it. And there's a +35% to crit severity to foes below 20% health. That's cool. I like it. It means that your next shot, if it gets a crit, you're probably going to blast that enemy to Kingdom Come. But to be frank, I would have probably preferred it if that was to foes above 80% health or above 50% health. Why? Because to be honest, it's nicer to see that foe with a lot of strength and go bang, and there's suddenly half your health gone in one single shot. You've almost destroyed a dreadnought. That would be epic. That I would love, and that's the kind of thing where I feel like crit severity really shines through. taking a powerful, defensively strong ship and tearing it to pieces. This is more of a finishing blow passive trait, and that's cool. It's not my preference. Then you have the active ability Light of Civilization, which is a heavy DOT damage with the instant core breach that I've already discussed with you. It has a 180-degree targeting arc. It deals nearly 1,000 phaser damage per second to foes for 3 seconds. After that, it goes into a high yield mode, to basically describe the way it looks. Sorry, overload mode. High yield, what am I talking about? It looks like it goes from standard fire to beam overload. Basically what it does. And that will improve it to going from nearly 1,000 damage to nearly 5,000 damage in my case for phaser damage. Again for 3 seconds, and dealing that nearly 5,000 phaser damage per second for 3 seconds. If the foe is destroyed by this blast, boom, you get this ability. It's cool, but the chances that the Light of Civilization is going to be what kills the enemy is somewhat low. And although the repel seems to always happen, I'm not sure it's meant to be happening. I did notice that it has to be the thing that kills them to get the actual core breach. And that core breach is distinctly what is the good part about this active ability. Otherwise, immolating phaser, is probably the better choice versus this console. The immolating phaser would just destroy it, and that's just as an expensive console to get your hands on as this console is to get your hands on. So, oh no wait, hang on, you can get that ship account wide unlocked now as well, so it makes it even more viable. Oops. Yeah, this console sounds good on paper, but it's got too many better options against it, and I think that's really the World Razer's biggest problem. There are better options versus its price. Okay, so can I drag a positive in here? Kind of. Like I said, once we get through this part, I've got some other things I want to quickly show you guys, so let's do it. Let's bring it up. First of all, we have the obliviating phasers. These phasers are actually quite nice. They're definitely orientated towards DPS builds, with the 5% chance for the plus 30 armor penetration and 100% shield penetration. The proc is high enough that it's worth considering into your builds. It does sizable additional damage as a result of the proc. It's not a consistent run and time, it is a per fire cycle of the weapon. So basically once per second you have a 5% chance of triggering this. That's not bad. That's a 1 in 20 burst of triggering this off. And considering how easy it is to speed these up, beam fire at will, you can end up with a much higher chance of triggering it. In fact, this weapon works really well with beam fire at will and beam overload. And for those wondering how it looks and sounds, since I won't be using it, I'll screw it. I'll use it just so you can see it. But it has the same look and sound as pulse phasers. My joke has been that where pulse phasers are the support builds phaser, even though they are sort of DPS as well, the obliviating phasers are straight DPS. If you're looking for great phasers to get, these are ones I would recommend to you. On other side notes though, also coming from the same lockbox, there are the dual Federation phasers. These are, well, the Federation phasers from the Coalition for the 23.99. They are very powerful, very good weapons. If you can get your hands on these, you've got some good weapons. You'll enjoy them. Not so sure on the pistol, but definitely on the rifles. Quick cover on them. Oh, and just so you know, the basic ability of these is they have a sort of stun effect that also limits run speed, whereas the pistol itself is a knockback. Yay! Did I cover that quick enough for you? Quickly throwing into the traits, I also want to note that in the lockbox you get a hold of a trait called Confederation's Fervor. This will, upon defeating a foe, add 6 power to your weapon subsystems for 30 seconds and can stack up to 3 times. 8 plus, so plus 18 power if you get this off right. Although it does require you to defeat one foe, this basically means that you can stay in the fight longer. It's great for beam overload and many other builds that are heavy energy draining, and definitely a trait that I would recommend using on your energy weapon builds. It's brilliant. I really like this trait, and if you want to score for this one, this trait gets 3.5 out of 5. There are better options than it, but if you are a high energy drain type build and you don't really want to focus on boosting your EPS and other powers as such, this is a very good backup to it. Keep you fighting at full power. That's what I mean to say. Now, there are also bridge officers you get from the lockbox that this ship is involved in. These bridge officers, you may have noticed in the exchange, are selling for quite a bit. This is because they are very capable. Now, I would say they're superior to your Vanguard Jem'Hadar, in the sense that the Vanguard Jem'Hadar gets that plus 7.5% to all weapon damage, and then the plus 1% to crit chance and 2.5% to crit severity. These Watcher companions have their own little space trait that gives them a plus 3% to both crit severity and crit chance, and a plus 5% to Starship defensive maneuvering. Now, although it's an increased skill-based stat, from what I've been able to see, because I opened quite a few of these just to double test, and I actually spent some extra EC to get some more, all I'm going to say to you guys is that doesn't seem to change. Now, unless I've gotten excessively lucky, it will always be a plus 5 to Starship defensive maneuvering and improves your defense. So these are bridge officers that I would probably recommend to tanks, people that play as tanks, or they are the tank equivalent to superior Romulan operative, if I'm going to be really honest with you. And that's just the other one I'll compare it to for you. Superior Romulan operative has a lower crit chance but a better crit severity rate, and of course Superior Romulan operative boosts the old recharger cloaking. It's a great benefit depending on how you play. Honestly speaking, I do feel like, though, the Watcher companions, they're better for those of you players that need a little bit extra defense and don't want to have the good old-fashioned Vanguard Jem'Hadar's boost in weapon power. With that all being noted, let me just quickly show you some customization for this ship. Like I said, I want to find some positives. This is something that's positive with the ship. Oops, I love how it just went straight to the Cygnus, because that's kind of funny actually, seeing as the Cygnus has the secondary deflector up here. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Well, say hello to the World Razer. Interesting old Galaxy design. I do appreciate it. I like what they went for, and it's fully within the Galaxy class set, so you can utilize any Galaxy class part with the World Razer, any Galaxy class element. Not Galaxy Dreadnought or Galaxy X, how you want to say it, only Galaxy. So if you got this, wanting to use that saucer on your Galaxy X, you can't. It annoys me because I can already see in here just where the connection part would have gone to it, and it probably would have taken very little for them to put that across and have it as a thing, but they didn't. And that is going to be my ultimate disappointment, my ultimate little pissed off anger point. It's not like they would have had to change the neck or anything. All they would have had to change is a little bit on the saucer here that gave it a connection point to connect to the neck. And I don't even think they'll, because of where that's positioned, I don't think they'll even had to have done that. And the lance would have just been connected through into the front deflector. We're turning the deflector into a lance, essentially. Oh well, you can't do that. That's the negative. You know what the positive is? This ship looks absolutely amazing. It looks brilliant, and I actually really like it with its components. Didn't straight off the back like it, but it grew on me. And although, if I'm honest, if I was keeping the World Razer, that's how I'd fly it. But that's because my joke would be, well, this is the Dominion version of the Galaxy class. So this is the Dominion War Galaxy class. It flies in, it separates, and it can do pincer formations with the saucer and secondary hull. Instead of the secondary hull being the battle hull, so to speak, because that was technically what it's supposed to be. You should never have seen the saucers ever in a war zone. DS9, that's the only thing I criticise you on. This would be, to me, the version where they made the saucer combative. So they remove all their home, all the family units and all that stuff, all the schools. And this is straight war go Galaxy. Hell, maybe it's even in that one where Tasha Yar came back from. Hello, Sheila's mum. Hey, this would fit in that timeline. Having it like this would fit in that timeline. This is my personal look. This is my personal favourite look. I'm just going to say it. That's me. Now, I know there are some other people that are having a bit of fun and a laugh with it. They will straight up do this. And now it's got no deflector, and they'll be throwing the joke off. Well, where's the deflector? Where's the deflector? Reliant. Where's the deflector? What? Reliant? Miranda. Oh wow, I just did that. That was bad. It's cool. I like it. I do think this is great. Now we take her into action. So back to World Race. So first of all, we're going to play a little game. It's called this. Aha! It does hit multiple. So there we go. It's got a little cone fire. Now I've got to play this game with you. I'm going to fire away a little bit at the enemy. And you're going to tell me which weapon is fired. Okay, you. Bomb. Oh, he went boom. We're going to have to pick another target. Oh, good. We've got a Galar class. So, I'm going to hit a weapon right now, and you're going to tell me when I fire the obliviating phasers. Okay? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. So do that again. Whoop, 1 is. 2 is. 3 is. 4s. Oh wait, I left that up too long, didn't I? Hello Pulse. Hello Pulse again. Hello Obliviating. Yeah. Bit of a disappointment really, that. The fact that they are almost identically the same. But hey, we can have some fun in a second. Yay! Blast them away! Boo! Boo! Blast them! Boo! I do love the fact I'm flying around and just not really using any firepower over the ship. I will give the ship credit. It is very, very strong and very effective at what it does. It's just also really bloody expensive to get a handle on. However, I did mention the World Razer Juggernaut way, didn't I? I'm supposed to mention that to you. So here it is right now as we fly towards the Keldon. Fires a phaser bolt directly in front of your ship that goes to foes and deals, in my case, 42,762.1 phaser damage with a disable for nearly 10 seconds. That disable is the prominent good part about the World Razer Juggernaut array. That's what I like. I love disables. And it is so good. So much so that you can just go, oh look, he's dead and he's just wandering around. Shall I change all my weapon set out and just change the looks and go, goodbye? Yeah, no, good. Yeah, okay. See you later. All about these guys down here. Should I trick away and have a little bit of fun? Maybe. Yeah. I'm gonna pin on you. Try and get you guys to. Damn it! I would appreciate it if one of you guys would just sit close and take a load of damage without being destroyed, so I can then do this. See that fire? And hopefully it goes into full power mode. There you go, destroyed, and there's the shockwave. Yeah. Unfortunately, that also has very limited range. It makes me like the console less. Did I even score the console? I don't think I scored the console. There might be a reason behind that. Hello. Boom. You're gone. How are you doing? I can turn quicker. I can turn and say hello. Look, I'll be straight. I want to like this ship. I'm trying to like this ship. Mostly because it's a Galaxy class. And I absolutely adore the Galaxy class. It was my first Enterprise. Maybe that's why I don't like this ship. Maybe I'm starting to understand why a lot of people react the way they do to certain amalgamations of the Constitution. Maybe that's why I have issues with it. But I can't say my issues with it are on a visual basis. Yeah, I don't like the secondary hull, but everything else I like. I like the neck. I like the pylons. I like the nacelles. I like the saucer. I just don't like the lack of deflector on the secondary hull. That's not a big deal. I find it hilarious that this ship is absolutely armed to a psychotic degree. Visually speaking. But the stats just The stats are brilliant in an essence, and at the same time they're like, what? Why? You are just a little bit not far enough. Can you hear my frustration? I don't know if it's just the fact that the legendary, although it doesn't have the optimum energy weapon DPS layout, the legendary version of the Galaxy is probably stronger. You have the legendary Dreadnought that is definitely stronger. Don't need it down in my mind. Sure, it doesn't have as powerful as a Lance, but immotulating Phaser Lance, and oh, you've got that AoE effect. Not as strong, but considering how quickly you can spam that burger off, yes it is. Phaser Lance on the ship anyway can be activated as a cone and can be augmented and boosted just like this one can. Here's my scores for the ship. I'm just gonna straight say it. Because I've given myself time to think and finalise what I actually think of this ship score-wise. I set the tray 2 out of 5. The console is 3 out of 5. The weapons you get with this ship, or the lockbox. Hey, for DPSs, I'm giving that a 5 out of 5. I really like them. Don't know if they're the best yet, but we'll see in time. It always takes testing. The additional trait you could get for this ship is quite good. Support score for this vessel. I'm going to give it a 2.5 out of 5. Yeah, literally half. This ship has support capabilities. I will credit it with that. It's a shame about how expensive it is to get your hands on this ship. If you are a support player, I do not recommend this ship to you. Although aspects of the ship may seem like it could help you as a support player, trust me when I say there are far too many better options that are way cheaper to get your hands on and more accessible to your entire account. Strongly recommend staying away from this ship as a support player. Well, I am. Tank. Now let me be blunt, there are better options for you tanks, but at least in this case, the ship is a really good tank, and if you want to address from tank into DPS, this may be a good option for you. A way to step between the two and be able to play both roles with one ship. As a result, I will give this ship 3.5 out of 5. Very close to giving it 4. It's funny when I say all these out of 5s because I'm used to working on the basis of a 10-point score system since I work in a certain environment with a certain scoring system. Though funny enough, anything that isn't a 9 or a 10 is considered either a detractor or neutral territory. 5 and lower are detractors. You see how I score these ships now? Tactical. DPSs. Hello. I've already stated this ship has science DPS capabilities. Has good tactical capabilities. There's no way around it. I hate this, I've got to say it, because of how pricey this ship is. But I have to give it a 4 out of 5. I'm detracting half a mark to stop it from being a 4.5 out of 5 because of how pricey it is. But it's a fecking good DPS ship. A really damn good DPS ship. Because of the World Razer Juggernaut array. Because its console does have benefits to DPS. Even though, honestly, if you are a DPS player, you're not going to use that console. The trait may be crap, but everything stats-wise on the ship is brilliant. This ship is perfectly set up for DPS, with only a few ways you can make it better. Swap the specialization of Temporal and Command around, and yeah, you did that, this ship would be even better DPS. Make this a command ship. Oh god, they're actually going to do a Galaxy X version of this ship as a command ship, aren't they? I can see that coming. There'll be another way for them to do it. They just put it in promo box instead. I'm giving them ideas, stop it. Yeah, 4 out of 5 is my tactical score. My overall score of this ship, is 4 out of 5. And for everyone wondering what the hell, considering the lower scores I gave it, it is purely because this is a bleedingly good DPS vessel, Juggernaut, with excellent stats to boot. I should be minusing a point from it for it being so expensive to get your hands on. But if you don't have a Juggernaut yet, then this is probably one of the ones I'd recommend. Who am I kidding? I would recommend the Vodwa Miracle Worker Juggernaut because that is a better DPS, better tank, and better support. Yeah, that's just a simple factor on that ship. And just saying though, this ship really does get, it's got my respect. This is why, as much as it annoys me, I can't just outright deny its abilities. This is a very difficult ship for me, which now leads me to this. Please guys, in the comment section, I have to hear back from you on this ship. This is one of these ones where I really need your feedback. What is your thoughts on her? Because I am very much in a stuck point of I am not sure how to take her. So please, in the comment section, let me know what you think. And I don't mean that if you're annoyed about her being a lockbox ship, join the club. All I mean is, do you think there's ways to have made this ship better? Or would you change anything about her? And with that being said, guys, a massive thank you for you watching all the way to the end of this video. I know it's long-winded, especially in certain spots. I apologise for that. It just goes to show how hard this ship is for me to review. I'm trying to stay objective. Massive thank you to people credited on screen right now who helped to make this possible. I could not be doing it without their support, either via Patreon or via one-time donations. These inputs make such a big difference to the channel. I will declare you guys, if you want to know how much I spend a year on this. I don't think you need to know it. It's too much. I make these videos simply so that you don't have to spend the money. I do it, and then you have an informed choice so you can decide whether you really want to go and get the ship. And with that, stay safe. May Warrior's fortune be ever at your side. Live long and prosper. Ciao for now.